Welcome to the Kaizoian experience. Over here, we're going to be talking about everything African. We're going to be having debates, discussions, entertainment, as well as learning about business, art, history, and everything in between. Cultural, tribalism, and everything. We're going to be out here debating with some really interesting stuff. So like the video, share the video, and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe for the best experience ever. This is the biggest channel on the Afrosphere. So come and join the team, become a Kaizoran, and join the Kaizoran empire.
Universally exist within myself, within this premise, and I exist within this bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like the blue in the sky. I'ma fly like bird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma throw my bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fight like bluebird in the sky. I'ma eat like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Back again like the second coming. Strumming my vocal cords like the hummingbird in the sky. Y'all can't deny this. Real rap lyrics, it's like I ain't got no rhyming through the sky limit. What is skin tone, shade of color, but a parallel form of frequency like a ringtone on your phone. Melanin expression, tied up in the universe, feeling like God's. Is this really us? Is it serious? Is it really wrong to be diverse? Am I diverge and immerse myself like an ocean beneath its waves? Be a divergent, born to be different. Indigo child, wild like canary, born to be a bluebird in the sky, flying high like a bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. Yeah, bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Everybody scream bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Yeah, bluebird in the sky. Everybody, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like born black, sweet like a berry. Flying high like a canary. Scary with my hoodie on. Hating on my vibe on the street that you'll be feeling my frequency of the song. But I know that I ain't never ever gonna be ever the same. But I know.
Welcome to the Kaizoian experience. Over here, we're going to be talking about everything African. We're going to be having debates, discussions, entertainment, as well as learning about business, art, history, and everything in between. Cultural, tribalism, and everything. What's good? Sorry about that. I disappeared for a moment. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about why does South America have a lower black population? What happened to them? What's the dark history behind it? And is this part of the anti-blackness, global anti-blackness? Well, let's go see.
Some narratives, even the most heartbreaking ones, have been relegated to the realm of whispers, like fading echoes in the winds of time. One such enigma, shrouded in mystery and sorrow, centers around a dark chapter in Argentina's history, a story that raises a haunting question. How and why did Argentina rid itself of its black population? In the sun-kissed land of tango and gauchos, where European heritage is celebrated, an unsettling truth lies concealed beneath the vibrant facade. Hidden from the world, Argentina's black population experienced a fate unlike any other. With roots stretching back to the days of slavery, the presence of
What's good, Zabe? What's good, Zabe? Shout out to everybody else listening through. Make sure you like the video and share it.
African descendants in the country shaped its culture, music, and cuisine. But as the centuries passed, a chilling transformation occurred, one that would see the Black community gradually vanishing from the nation's narrative. Prepare to be captivated as we embark on a journey that unravels the truth behind the erasure, unearths the painful past, and sheds light on the silenced voices of a community lost to history. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the New Africa documentary for more educative content. In a tumultuous era stained by the shackles of slavery, a little-known chapter unfolded in Argentina's history, a tale of clandestine journeys and the arrival of enslaved people from Brazil. While Argentina may not be commonly associated with the transatlantic slave trade, the country's proximity to Brazil and its growing agricultural industry created a demand for labor that could not be met domestically. As a result, a covert network emerged, surreptitiously transporting enslaved Africans across the border into Argentina. These brave souls embarked on treacherous voyages, navigating treacherous terrain and eluding the watchful eyes of authority.
Yep. So as you can see, Argentina didn't originally have a black population prior to Brazil. Brazil is the one which had a lot of the slaves coming from Congo, coming from a lot of Central and parts of West African countries. That's why you can still see certain cultural stuff like capoeira. Capoeira is actually a dance from the Angola, Congo area, right? So that's one of the reasons that there were so many black African populations in Brazil. However, Argentina actually imported them from Brazil because they realized, hey, look, we actually don't have enough labor over here, given the economic situation at that time. So they imported, obviously, black people over there. Right. Shout out to Zabe. Argentina at one point had at least 30% black population. That's crazy, right? But what happened? And the same thing with Brazil. There's a lot of whitening, right? Anti-black sentiments going around the world. So yes, sometimes you guys might think Kaizo is a lover of the Anglos, but that's not really the truth. I do know there's a lot of anti-black sentiments going on around, but I think actually the Spanish types are probably a little bit more racist than some of the other types.
All in search of freedom and a chance at a better life. Arriving in Argentina, these enslaved individuals brought with them their rich cultural heritage, traditions, and resilience. While their journey was fraught with hardship and adversity, their arrival infused Argentina's cultural fabric with new rhythms, flavors, and customs. Through their vibrant music and dance, such as the rhythmic beats of candombe and the sensual movements of the milonga, they created a space to celebrate their African roots and find solace in a foreign land. Despite the harsh conditions and a society that sought to erase their presence, the enslaved people from Brazil left an enduring legacy, shaping Argentina's identity in ways that are still felt.
Yep. When you look at music such as salsa, etc., and all the derivatives, if you look at the drum beats, right, there's a lot of heavy Congolese influence, right? This is coming from these people, right? These kinds of people are the ones that shaped a lot of modern Latin American music. Without them, they wouldn't exist. But the thing is, right, and I keep saying this, right? Black African populations don't have power. That's why this keeps happening.
Today, their arrival marked not only a physical migration, but also a profound cultural exchange that resonates with the indomitable spirit of a people determined to preserve their heritage against all odds. In the intricate tapestry of Argentina's history, the fluidity of race and the pursuit of whiteness emerges as captivating and unsettling themes. The social landscape of the country, with its reverence for European heritage, created a compelling desire among many to distance themselves from their African roots. The pursuit of whiteness became a mechanism for social mobility, where individuals sought to align themselves with the dominant white narrative and shed their blackness. This process took various forms, from intermarriage with white Europeans to adopting European customs and using skin whitening products. However, this pursuit came at the cost of erasing one's heritage and denying the vibrant contributions of the Black population. The consequences of this pursuit reverberate through Argentine history as the deliberate erasure of the Black.
It gets worse. It gets worse. And shout out to the sponsors of the show. Shout out to One Man Want to Mo with a fat £2 super chats. Bantu. Shout out to you. And also shout out to Matifi, the man from Finland. He says with a €10, shout out to you, brother. Thank you very much for supporting the show. Biracial Britain, A Different Way of Looking of Race, book by Remy Adekoya. I will definitely check that out. And you know what, right? This is actually part of the creation of what we call, right? Let me share my screen right now. There's a concept in Latin America, right? It's called they have a Spanish name, right? But Bettering the Race, right? When you look at this, right, that concept is called blanqueamiento, right? I think blanque means white or something, right? But let me share my screen right now just to kind of give context to this culture, right, over here. Bettering the race, right? So this is what used to happen in countries like Argentina, right? Blanqueamiento, Spanish, or blanqueamiento, right, in Portuguese, both meaning whitening, in social, political, and economic practice used in many post-colonial countries in the Americas and Oceania to improve the race. Majora la raza, right? Towards a supposedly ideal of whiteness, right? So this is one of the ways that they used to. If you look at this image, right, this iconic image here of of our sister here, you can see the grandmother there. She's praying and thanking white Jesus because, as you can see, she has a mixed race daughter. The mixed race daughter married a white man, and she's out there thanking God that the child is now, since it's only 25% African, is now more or less white child, right? Look at the dad there. The dad is doesn't seem to care. He's just proud he has a child and he has a family, right? But the woman here is praising and thanking white Jesus. This is what happened to the Argentinian population. They got removed. The black genes were removed, and also there was a little bit more nefarious aspects that did actually come from it. So this is one reasons why we have anti-blackness. It's broken. We are broken people, a lot around the world. But you know what? When these people see that Africa is rising, Africa is successful, Africa is doing its thing, do you not think they will want to re-identify with the strong continent? Of course they would, right? But unfortunately, at this time, they were living in the belly of the beast, so they did not have a chance to protect themselves. Their culture, their racial identity got removed, and Argentina has a very small black population now. That is the reality on the ground. Right reaction says, getting rid of the class of Ham. The funny thing is, right, the black people that were taken into the slave trade were not actually Hamites. That's the thing, right? Hamites refers to the Nilot and the Cushites. It's not to do with this kinds of class of people, right? These are Central Africans. They're not Hamites, right? So even that class of Ham is ill. It's ill, appropriated. Kaizo, your assessment is skewed. Well, tell me what my assessment is skewed about. The erasure only happened deliberately in Argentina by different. No, it didn't. It happened in other countries as well, Beb Rodriguez, right? I can do you a documentary also on Brazil. They actually gave a lot of white countries free citizenship and money to actually set up shop in Brazil, specifically from Portugal, Spain, and also Germany. That did not just happen in Argentina. It happened even in Brazil, because they noticed Brazilian population, black population, was more than 50%. It was like 65, 70% before. So no, sorry, Breb Rodriguez. It happened also in other areas, and I have proof of it, right? Blanquier, Stone, whatever it is, bettering the race, right? Shout out to them.
Community has left lasting scars. The absence of their voices and experiences from historical records and cultural narratives denies the richness of Argentina's past. Yet the legacy of the Black population endures in the country's cultural expressions, subtly reminding us of their presence in the rhythms of tango, the flavors of traditional cuisine, and the resilience of those who refuse to let their stories fade away. This complex interplay between race, identity, and societal pressures highlights the urgent need to recognize and value diverse experiences, confront historical injustices, and strive for a more inclusive future that embraces the contributions of all individuals, regardless of their racial backgrounds. The eradication of Argentina's Black population was not a mere coincidence, but a result of systemic discrimination and marginalization deeply ingrained within the country's social fabric. Afro-Argentines faced a multitude of barriers that hindered their progress and relegated them to the fringes of society. From the early days of colonization, racial hierarchies were established, with European ancestry being celebrated and African heritage being devalued. This entrenched racism manifested in various forms, including discriminatory policies, limited access to education and employment opportunities, and socioeconomic disadvantages. Afro-Argentines were subjected to institutionalized racism that perpetuated a cycle of marginalization, making it exceedingly difficult for them to escape the constraints imposed by the dominant white society.
Yep. This is unfortunately what happens to you when you have no power and there's nothing for you to attach to, right? The Black Americans survived. They're still like 12.5%. But Argentina apparently was actually 30% Black population at one time. Right now, it's nowhere close to that. Colombia was also much higher. The thing is, right, with these people over here, let me play the short that you've sent over there in the back chat, brother. And you better come through for the making of the Pookie, the show later today. It's going to be a little bit dusty, but Kifaru, I'm sure you enjoy the dust, right? Let me share this video. Okay. So shout out. This is a video. Okay, how Africans feel about Black Americans. Okay, let's play the video. Shout out.
Africa ain't built no ship and came back over here and rescued one nigga since we left from Africa. Yeah, and Africans don't like us. Yeah, Africans don't fuck with us. They don't like us. They stink. Yeah, ain't some people. Yeah, niggas, fuck Africa. Yeah, they ain't our people. We niggas, slaves, the descendants of slaves. They would never call no nigga. The first group of Africans, only one generation. Now the first group came. They wasn't born into this shit. Me and your people was born into this, homie. They were born slaves. They
no, but Kifaru. Here's the thing, right? That to me is ignorance. Do they not know about colonialism? Do they not know what happened to Congo and the people on the ground?
Well, but get his point. Get his point.
Okay.
His point is not about the people. It's the culture, you understand? But to some point, he speaks the truth. Some people might argue with him, but that does not mean you cannot try to find your roots, you understand? To just call an African American an African, it's not as easy as that. He should actually become an African again, you understand? It's not just like calling you African, that's you're African. You know, there's some Africans that in the West, they call themselves Africans, but I will not accept them to be Africans. I will not really want them to represent Africans in any way. You understand? They're just completely different people, but they might hide under this African identity. Oh, my parents are from Africa, but their mindset is European. And we should be careful with the kind of people.
Outrageous theory. Let me give you some background. The Spanish Prime Minister is on a trip to Argentina. He met with President Alberto Fernandez on Wednesday. They talked about vaccines. They inspected a guard of honor before sitting down for this press conference. Fernandez was keen to impress his guests, so he flaunted Argentina's European roots. And he declared Brazilians as people from the jungle. Listen to this.
We believe in Latin America and in our continent and in the unity of our continent. But particularly, I'm also pro-Europe. I'm someone who believes in Europe, because from Europe, Octavio Paz once wrote that the Mexicans came from the Indians, the Brazilians came from the jungle, but we Argentines came from the ships, and there were ships that came from Europe.
No.
I think Kaizo, what people don't realize. I think what people don't realize is that
Argentina, 1 second, unmute expansionist so I can fix your mic quickly.
Argentina was a safe haven for Nazis. They love Argentina. They did terrible when they tried to.
Did you hear what they said, Kifaru?
They run and hide. They run and hide in Argentina.
Kifaro, did you deep what they said? He said, we are not like Brazil. We didn't come from the jungle, aka the black slaves. We Argentinians have a pure European root. We came from Europe. This you see
Yo,
what
Kaizo, this guy is the
black
president of Argentina, by the way, and
That's
he's
crazy.
like having a meeting with the Spanish government.
So my point is, like, we should keep this African identity as pure as we can. You understand? There's nothing wrong. They might insult us, say what they want, but we are who we are. Okay, and that's our identity. We should make sure we preserve it. All this super race mixing thing, I'm not a fan of it. You can do race mixing, but fine, but know your children are not Africans, they're not black. If you want to call them black, that's okay. They might fit in some families, but in the general, if you have a mixed race children, don't be mad at Africans if they don't see those children as African. It's just normal. The mixed race, they're who they are. You understand? So we should be who we are. We're Africans. Whatever they say about us, but that's who we are, and we should be proud of that.
You
We're
sound
not
like
wanting.
Hitler. Kifari, you sound like a Hitler. Bloody hell. I can't believe what I've heard from you. That's
What
what I mean.
was wrong?
A lot of Africans, they're fascists. They're fascist Hitlers, Nazi people.
Well,
The
but
funny
I
thing
think
is to Kifar calling me a stupid guy.
what did you say?
Sorry.
Kifari, you're a
The funny
Nazi. I can't believe what you said. You're full of
Nah,
Nazi.
chill. Kifar is not a Nazi. It's just an old African. That's what he is.
What is wrong with what I said, expansionist?
No. You know what? I agree with Kifaru on half of what he said, right? I still think that the Africans, they're black, those kids, but we shouldn't make a habit out of doing it, because what we're doing is we're creating a class of people that can be used as a voting block. If you look at the South Africans,
Kaizo,
right?
that is
The
exactly
colored
what
people,
they
for
did.
example. Mhm.
That's exactly what they did after neocolonialism. They were using mixed race people, making Africans to think these are your people. But this biracial were just Europeans. Just because they had one foot out of Africa, it was easier for them to use these people to colonize Africa, to make them feel comfortable. It was they did that on purpose. I've seen like many like clips. Like, I don't know if maybe they're just acting, that these white people are saying, you know what? Let's get this black man, make him to be part of us, but still give him some access to his community, so they may think he's one of them, but actually he's not one of them. We tell him what to do. You understand? I believe people may not agree with me. If white people can openly accept mixed race people, they will go there. They will not even think twice to even
Of course,
want to be black. I
South
think it's just
Africa,
because
brother.
they feel rejected by the white side.
How-
That's why they're
yeah.
trying to bond with the black side. If they have an option, black or white, the black's claiming you, or the black or the
No,
black or
but
the white claiming,
Farrell,
they'll
why would you
go. They'll
choose
go.
the losing side, right? That's the thing, right? If I was mixed race, right, I'll choose the winning side.
Good.
Right?
I
In this
don't
case,
blame
it's
them.
the white
I
side.
don't blame them for that. I would do the same. But let it be a fact. Let it not be, no, we just love black people. You're black. No, choose the side that favors you. And it's not wrong for them to choose white side. They're part white. I will not blame a mixed race person for identify as a white person. There's nothing wrong with that. They should allow
Kifari,
him to be white.
I 100% agree on the point you just said there. In my opinion, like I think the same. When someone's half white, half black, I don't trust them. I can never trust them because I don't know which they can be loyal to each side. You know what I mean? So definitely, man, you're onto something there.
That's true.
Man, you
100%.
guys, maybe you call me primitive,
Yeah,
but
well, admixed people are different, Mrs. H. For example, Black Americans, they're admixed. They're still black, right? Admixed is a little bit different context. Even
Way
the
different.
dark
That's a
people
lot
Brazilians,
different.
very different
Yeah,
context.
I'm talking about one person is in the middle, African and European, not some
That's
generation of
different.
mixing. No,
Exactly.
I mean
You're
like
right,
that
Kifari.
mixed
for
race
me,
for the middle.
this important thing is, when I always told you, it's a code. Like from that is maybe race for me is second or third place, but for me, the important thing is the code. Now, how do you achieve the code? That is something different, but I'm not the guy who goes, oh yeah, you are 100% black. That means that doesn't actually mean nothing for me. Like, it's not a negative. That means, yeah, okay, you're average now. But what positive you're actually doing?
This is the thing. Snake man. Do you really believe in your head the white man sees a mixed race man and an African man the same?
I don't care what the white man thinks
Okay,
beyond
okay, that's the
business.
problem. You don't care, but does not change the fact. You might not care anything, but the facts remain the fact. If you don't care, it does not mean it's gonna change it.
I don't want to change it because I don't care. What does I care what the white man thinks about mixed race people? I don't even care about mixed race people. Why should I care?
Okay, okay, good. So why are you here if you don't care? Why are we having this conversation?
Hey, you started. Hey, we are on Kaiser's channel. The Kaiser's channel. You are not the host. Stop it,
Okay,
Kefal.
okay. Are you
Stop it. You
bothered
said no.
that? Okay, good. Okay. Are you bothered that we care?
No, you can care. I said I
Okay.
don't care.
Okay,
But I
that's
know
fine.
that
That's fine.
your communist old ass cannot comprehend that Africans have different opinions.
The opinion is not the matter. It's the fact. It's the truth. There's one truth, the universal truth. You might have different opinion, but as the great Socrates says, what is and what is not is not. Does not matter if you believe in it or not.
Now he's quoting Socrates. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Hey, Africans these days have become philosophical. Okay, interesting. On that, okay. So, Snake Man, let me ask you a question, right? Shout out to Mrs. H. She says Kaizo's choosing, which makes people relax. No, it's different, Mrs. H. Admix means you've actually created your culture. You become an intergenerational mixed people, and if you're from Africa, then you're African, obviously. But oh shoot, man, mashallah, man. Masha, sorry, no, wait, Masha, white man. Shout out to the white man over here paying the reparations back. Matifi with a €50 super
You
chat,
see,
Masha.
that's ultimate
Man,
credit. That's good.
that is some
Thank
on
you,
point guy, man, over there. Thank
Matifi,
you, white man.
for donating to this poor African. At least he can.
Exactly, man. This guy's out here giving more money than the Africans, man. Matifi, man. Shout out to you, bro. In fact, I'll get you a Kenyan wife, man, a beautiful one. Use it as Audible credit. You know, the funny thing is, Matifi, I accidentally had an Audible account for a year. I was paying to these guys until I recently deleted it a couple of months ago. But shout out to you, Matifi. Made my day, made me smile. Shout out to you. Yeah. So, question for you, Snake. Would you marry a mixed race person? And would you marry a white person? For me, when I was younger, I did actually like white women. I already specified they're one of the few women that liked me. So I had a thing for them. But these days, I prefer my African woman. What about you?
So we discussed that yesterday. I told you they must be compatible with Africa. When I told you none of those white women are compatible. So by default, I would go with my own women. But if you actually listen to me, you would know that.
Okay. So where are you gonna get the wife from? In Germany or in Nigeria? Like, how are you going to find this?
Probably in Nigeria, because the Nigerian community here is not so big. Like, it's really not so big.
Oh, right.
Well, in Germany, or mean in your town?
I'm sorry, in my proximity.
Okay.
Because not all. Did you think I spent a lot of gas to drive all of Germany?
Well, we know you are in the home on the internet all day, so we understand that. So don't worry.
Oh yeah, he's an intro.
What do you mean? You're more on Kaiser's channels than me, old nigga. What you talking about, old African?
Come on, let's not throw weird little jabs, man. Like, there's nothing wrong with being online.
Okay.
Why are you not educating your grandchildren, older Nigerian? What's wrong with you? Be a patriarch for once.
What? Did I bust your bubble? Why are you so mad? Did I say something?
No, I'm not. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. But I can crank it.
Yeah,
up
you took it so personal.
I'm not taking personal, but I crank it up too because I'm not questioning why old Nigerian that should be out there teaching his grandchildren about the world is here on Kaiser's channel who's half a coon. Come on, man, stop it.
Whatever. Put your emotion down.
Why you not out here being a teacher? Why not out here trying to teach?
I don't want to crank it up again. I don't want you to cry.
So then don't start it, old Nigerian. Don't start it, old Nigerian.
I'll just keep it cool. I don't want to crank it up because you might cry.
Don't start it. Keep the Nigerian arrogance tact.
The biggest mixed group in France is the Cameroonian and French.
The biggest mixed people in France
is Cameroonian French.
I don't know. Where did you get the statistics from?
Search out.
Yeah, I don't know. You can't tell. You can't really tell.
Cameroon has been, really, been doing their thing in that department. You guys are
No,
trying
I
to.
think I think I think it's because no. I think because the most
God damn.
what's that? I
I
think
fixed it.
because
Don't worry.
I think the most successful mixed race people are Cameroonians. I think that's why you just assume that they are the
Okay, so you're
most
saying,
dominant.
so you're applauding the mix.
What?
You're applauding the mix.
No, I say maybe the most successful mixed race people in France are Cameroonians. So you just assume maybe they're just the ones that do better.
Why are Cameroonians mixing so much outside their race? Why?
Where do you get the statistics? Tell me
Online, I
Cameroonians
searched it
that
up.
are mixed. Tell me, like which
In
famous
France,
Cameroonians are
in France,
mixed?
the biggest mixed community is Cameroonian French.
Well, there's
Why?
no data
Why are
to
you
that.
guys mixing so
There's
much?
no
Kefir?
data to
Why?
that. You just give a blank statement and you ask me a question. Who's gonna answer to that? Give me data and let's argue on the data.
Sorry, Kaizo, are you there? Kaizo?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. Can you repoint the conversation to that clip at the beginning? I think
Yeah,
that's more interesting than this
true,
continuous.
true, true.
Yeah.
On the Cameroonians. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So going back, right? Okay. First of all, do you think that this kind of stuff can happen again? Do you think, for example, the black population can be slowly genocide removed from existence? We've seen government
Careful,
institutions do
Kaizo.
this. Hmm.
Kaizo,
Go
I
ahead,
believe
Steve.
it could be done the opposite way. So
Okay.
in my
Like,
opinion, I feel
mm,
like that black people right now, especially in the world, they
Hmm.
are they are doing that change of making assimilating people to black, because you do know in the Western world at least, if you have one drop of black in you, the white side completely rejects you. And the only side
Yeah.
that will take you in is black. That's why you see that
But
these
Hmm.
but
these
that's
super mixed.
wrong.
No, okay, 1 second, Kifari, 1 second, Kifari. That's why you see, because I was having a debate about this with one of my friends as well. Like, he was saying,
Hmm.
like, I was saying I don't trust people that are like half white, half black. He's saying, but they're viewed as black. Like, you get me? He's saying that
Hmm.
regardless, because he knows a lot of mixed people in his family, this, that, this, that. He's saying they're viewed as black. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I'm saying to him, bro, I don't trust them. But he's saying, because how the West, the white people push them away once they have that mix in them, they automatically become black type thing. So they choose a side. You know what I mean? So so I believe it's happening the other way around.
I
Interesting.
think I think I
Interesting.
think I think
Go
this is
ahead.
the thing. Like, if you look how the West is going, they want mixed race people to be the black people that the world is talking about. You understand? And they want Africans to be something. They want mixed race to be black, which is something that only dumb black people don't see it coming. If you go like online, like most advert is the mixed race people, because as you know, Europe is aware that they are declining in population, and their only hope, something that's going to remain, is this mixed race people. So it's better for them to keep those mixed race people as part of them. You understand? Then so that they can play with us, no, the black Africans, because we might see them, oh, these are our brothers they've got some black in them, and it
Kaiser,
might
I
be
mean, I'm not
easier
Kaiser
for them to
Kafari, but you do
control.
know, even in the UK, Kafari, like, a lot of these mixed people, like light skinned people, they claim black, they identify as black. You know what I mean? So I don't know
Well,
who's pushing it.
hmm.
I don't know who's pushing that agenda for them to
but
identify as
but you
black,
know,
but
in the
they've
UK,
identified as
Americans.
black.
but you know,
Americans.
Mm.
but you know, in the UK, they don't say black; they say mixed race. In America, there's nothing like mixed race on their papers ahead. You
Yeah,
can't
it's black or white.
identify as mixed
Yep.
race.
Yeah. Shout out to
Why?
Matifi. He says, if you're
Yeah.
not white, you are black. It's a simple logic.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no,
That's what
no,
they.
no,
No,
No. No.
100%.
no,
A
no,
100%,
no,
Matifi. I
no.
agree
But
with you,
that
Matifi.
does
Very
not
high
make
IQ white
sense.
man.
That
No,
does
he's a
not
high
make
IQ
sense.
white man.
That does
He
not
said the
make sense.
facts.
I
But
said to the
this is the
tomorrow.
thing. That does not make
It
sense.
might not make sense to you, Kafari, but that's how
No,
the
but
world
it's not
works.
to me. It's not to
No, but
me.
that's how the world works,
It's
Kafari. I
just
promise you.
okay.
At least into West. At least into
Wait.
West.
Okay. The idea is that is a made up thing. Okay, but that is not the truth. That's my point. You understand?
Mhm.
If there is 100% white, there must be 100% black. You understand what I mean? Something like, if you're not white, you're black. No, it does not make sense. That's
Now
not
he's
logical.
now he sings like an African. Once again, we're talking about the standards. It's a Western
Thank
skill.
you.
Now, once
Thank you,
again,
bro.
Western standards must not be logical. Like history has proven that when they have an idea, and they want that idea to be real, so they operate on that idea even if it's absolutely illogical. Shout out to the mustache man.
Okay, if you're not white, you're black. So, what is it? What is a Jew? Is it a white? Is
Kefaru,
a Jew
I,
white?
Kefaru,
I
it
could I
depends.
could answer you,
Like,
Kefau,
yeah.
but I must ask Kaizo, how does it goes with the slurs when I use slurs in another language?
We don't care because we don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, Jews is seen as mongrels, Asiatic mongrels.
Okay, so now you've add another term in the definition. If you're not white, you're black. No, who said that? So you can be something else if
The
you're not white.
Americans, once again, this specifically is American. This idea is
Exactly. Yes.
American.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, okay. So okay, I'm a expansionist. Do you think it's correct? Forget about the fact that is the standard. Do you think it's okay?
Okay. That's a good question because I was like for me, majority I speak about the standards, but there's no need to debate on the standards. For example, but for example, my opinion, for example, I don't trust someone who's half like, for example, half white,
Mm-hmm.
half black, because um even my friend, I was debating him. I stood on my ground, and I'm like, you know what? Even it's too risky because you don't know which side they're being loyal to. His argument was like, the white people, they push them away, so they come to the black side of the family. I'm like, bro, you know what I mean? It could be the opposite way around. You know what I mean? So, in my opinion, I don't really fully trust, that the mulattoes or those
Mm-hmm.
mixed people in,
Exactly.
yeah,
I
man,
was watching
don't believe that they should have
when this
power in Africa at least.
when this Black Lives Matter movement was like in its peak, there were so many mixed race people who were actually confused, and these people did not come to light because they feel that blackness is not them. You understand? There are so many of them online, but YouTube just tried to shut it down that you don't see the other side. They say they don't feel that they are these black people that feel oppressed, and that is just the fact because they go into like maybe communities and people treat them differently as they treat black people. So many of them they have that experience and they do accept, but they just want to tell people we just want to be mixed, who we are. I've seen like mixed race people trying to create their own community, their own online thing, and black women bashing them that you can't do that. You need to put all of us. They just want to be real. You understand? So I think they should allow them to be who they are. They should stop forcing them to be black. They're who they are. To me, they should
And,
just
and,
allow.
and this is the
Facts,
reason why I
facts.
say code. But expansion is this is the reason why I say code first, because like let's use that BNL example. Mixed race people didn't derail BNL movement. That barely anything to do with it. It was 100% black people who were on the LGBT side who co-opted the movement.
Let's say let's get busy together. Let's use that term from now on.
Yeah, let's get busy together with our booty warriors. Booty warriors
Right.
took it over, and that's why I say they were black, but they were not on code. That's why I say
But
code for me is more important.
let me ask you a question. Right, you said they were not on code, right? When you say not on code, you basically mean it's the same problem that Africans have been haunted by: lack of organized
No, it's
structures,
different.
right?
Different.
Okay, explain why.
Africans' problem. The problem is Africans' problem is that they cannot decide which of the codes is the superior one. That is a
Oh,
whole
I
different.
see.
That's
Okay, wait,
whole
hang on.
There's the one in the West. The Western problem is they don't have a code at all.
Okay, that's a good point. So let me just break it down to the rest of the people listening, right? Because when you're saying they don't have a code, are you trying to say, for example, some of these black movements get hijacked because we don't even know what outcomes we're looking for? It's like everything is just muddy together. Oh, we just want things to be better, and other groups come in and then they lobby the government for their rules. For example, let's say
Oh, no, I
Barack Obama,
understand
right?
it. Like, could you ever believe that a Hausa would hijack the Biafra movement? Would that
It's
even
not
be possible? Yes, that's.
No.
Do you understand what I mean with
I get
code?
your point. Yeah, I get it, right? So basically, we don't really have like actual, we don't even have outcomes that we're looking for, right? Because that's part of the problem. How is it that during Obama's rule, Americans, the let's get busy together people are the ones who benefited the most in terms of like actual policies and legal changes? That doesn't make sense. But yeah, let's listen to white man say what happened to these guys in this place.
Population, the numbers dwindled. In the early 1900s, they were around 13 of the top. Hi, I'm Bad Empanada, and I never envisioned actually calling myself that out loud when I named my channel. Oops. This is the first of a new, shorter style of video that I'm going to be making alongside my longer form content. According to the general population, the numbers dwindled. In the early 19th century, and they still are today. The issue is more that content. It's important to emphasize first that Black Argentines did not actually disappear. They've always been around, and they still are today. The issue is more that proportionate to the general population, the numbers dwindled. In the early 19th century, they were around 30% of the total, but today they're around 4%. So what happened? Well,
bro, no.
What did he say?
Kifaru, man, did you hear that? Right, the Black Argentine population at I believe it said 19th century or something. It was like 30%. 30. That's almost that's 2.5 more than Black Americans, right? 30%. Right now they're 0.5%. When you look at these numbers, right, it's scary. Like let's listen to the white man and see what his analysis is. That's insane.
After Argentina became independent and slowly sort of united, it very slowly and gradually abolished slavery. Large parts of the country's elite were huge racists who saw the Black population as some sort of problem that had to be solved. But they didn't quite go about it in the really on-the-nose way that the myths tend to emphasize. First, let's talk about those myths. Historian George Reed Andrews showed that there is no evidence that Black Argentine soldiers died disproportionately in the Paraguayan War, and that they were not hit any harder by epidemics than the rest of the population. So, both totally wrong. Additionally, while Argentine leaders did no doubt say some
just remember, this is an apologist, right? I'm sharing this video obviously to deconstruct some of the stuff he's saying. Clearly, the government did put policies. The diseases that happened, the government didn't take care of them. They were being and refused to actually integrate it into the cities, to industrialize and get access to medical care. Right, a lot of that stuff actually happened. Right, lack of all those things. Right, this is an apologist.
Black countrymen, the sometimes purported mass killings and extermination campaigns, as claimed in certain articles that are high in the Google search results for the topic, are not a thing that actually happened. Except to indigenous people, but that's a separate issue. So what did happen? Well, looking at census data from Buenos Aires, which was by far the most populous part of the country and still is, the Black population there peaked at 14,000, which already wasn't that much. 50 years later, this had declined to 8,000, while the white population had multiplied by 10. This was due to two things. First, as the numbers may indicate, the government fostered the migration of poor white European immigrants, partly because they just wanted lots of immigrants, and partly because they were following the ideology called blanqueamiento. The idea of
Blanqueamiento, right? Bettering the race, right? So there was two effects. There was the creation of mulattoes. That's one aspect, right? And shout out. You can play this video since it's shout out to you, Zay, for helping mod the stream. But yeah, so Blanqueamiento is that system of bettering the race, right? So there was a lot of mixture happening from the Black side in order to get access to basic amenities by the government. That's one. Two, they did what Brazil also did, which was keep bringing in new white immigrants population. And then also,
they were not even good white immigrants. They were not like good white people. They were people who suffer from mental health sickness, just to anything. The truth is that they did not mix with the best of the white people. It's the dustiest of the white people. Just bring people from prison who've got mental health, psycho, and just create more white people. That's the problem. That's what
14,000, which already wasn't that much. 50 years later, this had declined to 8,000, while the white population had multiplied by 10. This was due to two things. First, as the numbers may indicate, the government fostered the migration of poor white European immigrants, partly because they just wanted lots of immigrants, and partly because they were following the ideology called blanqueamiento. The idea, very common across Latin America at the time, that it was desirable to whiten the population. So this mass immigration led to the relative importance of the Black community quickly dwindling just due to numbers. That immigration also resulted in a lot of mingling between the Black and white populations. And so, Black people married white people, they had mixed race kids, etc. But that doesn't mean that Black people were absorbed or anything like that. Rather, the government, as part of the Blanqueamiento campaign, actually started to define mixed race people as not Black. For example, they invented the category trigueño, in which lighter-skinned, often mixed-race African descendants and dark-skinned Europeans would both be placed into together, in a clear effort to obfuscate the differences between them. So then the government and people could point to these official statistics and be like, hey, look, there's no Black people in Argentina, even though there obviously were. And that created the idea that there are no Black people in Argentina, which only became more entrenched as even more white immigrants flooded the country in the 20th century. In reality, today there's more Black Argentines than there ever has been, and most of them are descended from the original Black population. And Black Argentines contributed a whole lot to early 20th century Argentine culture, though in ways that most people don't really notice. For example,
So as you can see there, right,
Mm.
well, the Argentinian situation, actually, because we're discussing this about mixed race populations, who they rather identify with. In this case, the mixed race population identified as white, or this new category with dark Europeans from Spain and Portugal. And what slowly happened is there was actually the destroyal or removal of the black population. This is actually kind of interesting because it juxtaposes what we were discussing here. What does it mean to be black? Do people or mixed race people
Mhm.
prefer to be black? And I say they prefer to be part of the race that will accept them, and that the power bees, in this case in Argentine, it's whiteness, right? That's the concept there.
Yeah, I think there's a thing. I think when a white man is talking about black, which we should be really, really careful, because anything to them that is not 100% white is black. I've seen people that I will call them white, but white people will say they're black. Okay, that I'm confused. This guy is not even white person; it's a white person. So if someone says in Argentina you don't notice black people that are there, then these people are not the kind of black people you and me are talking about. You see a black man, you're gonna notice a black man. So how can we have so many more than 30%? He said the percentage of black people in Argentina has increased, but we don't notice them. So there's just some different kind of people that are not really the black we're talking about. That's just my
No, what
point.
what they did is pulled up Brazil. Basically, they mixed a lot of people and then said, okay, these mixed people are no longer black. That's what they did, because
Interesting. Yeah.
Magnesi was talking about it that for a long time the black population in Brazil was going down, and when they brought up those reparations, for some reason the population of black shot up to 70-80% again. Because everyone with a little bit of black admixture came out. No, I'm black now. I'm black now. I'm black now. And I thought to myself, yeah, they pulled up Brazil.
Yeah.
Basically, the population didn't grow a lot. They stagnated. They brought a lot of white people from the outside in, and the mixed people they have, the category is it is not black. So naturally, the black
So,
population is free.
Snake Man, you are correct. If you look at Brazil and you look at the affirmative action going on there, because they have a much larger black population, it's at least 30%. And if you include mixed race people, it's like up to 50%. So what happened is all the mixed race people, even the ones who barely look black, are identifying as black in order to get access to education and job placement and everything. So yeah, right now if you go to Brazil, like 56% people identify as black, even though the
Before that, it was lower.
30%.
Before that,
Yeah, it was 30%. Exactly. So you are right, 100%. When now blackness has some kind of benefit, people are gonna accept it. But when it doesn't have benefit, well, no, me no black, me no black, and me no black. So it's always to do with power, man. Like, can blackness give you access to things or not? Right? I believe that's 100%. So yeah, 100%. And also, Kinkel, what's your thoughts so far on this discussion?
Yeah, it's a very big up to the Sun people. It's a very good discussion. Garvey and a lot of the elder Pan Africanists spoke about this. That the biracial Africans, they are Africans. However, due to psychologically, is that you have to be very careful of them. There's a great book by Chancellor William, by the destruction of the black civilization, and we have proof that the Asians, the Middle Easterns, and the Europeans, that they would, elope with the black woman, and then the child that will come out would be the buffer class. They will more seek the approval of the non-African father and put down the black woman. You see, so, and this has always been used, but also in Pan-Africanism, there's been biracial African that's helped out. I was saying, brother, Kaizo, is that the biracial Africans who are unsynchronized, you can't trust them, and you cannot trust the black man and the black woman that participates in that particular relationship. They are both the same, because you being with a non-African person is a political choice. It's nothing to do with love and desires. It's a political choice. Just like in that book by Francis Funham, Blackface, White Mask, where he makes it specifically clear in the page that when the black man goes with the white woman, right, it's due to the fact that when he sees himself in the mirror, he doesn't see the gloriousness and the handsomeness of himself. So he naturally sees the black woman as the same. and then he believes by going with the white woman, it's going to bring him equal to the white man. So we know that it's all political, but the biracial Africans and those black people and synchronized black people who participate in them relationship, you can't trust them as well. They're both the same.
Defense of the mulattoes, you know, we there has to be two sides to every story. So the second side to it is a lot of these people that are in, you know, at least South America, I could say, there's been an agenda like Kaizo has shown to, you know, white make them white, you know. So and it's not really their choice that they was, you know, they were taken there and they were enslaved, and you know, after the enslavement was over, they tried to assimilate them into the Latino community. So with them as well, there has to be a bit of, you know, like, you know, we have to give them a bit of gotta be a bit of mercy when you identify those people, you know, because cool, they might have some that, you know, are against the black thing and they hate their black side and that, but on the contrary, you have the whole other side that, you know, the Africanity is what they cling on to because, you know, of the struggles they're going through in that area, that specific area, for example. So they gotta be for everything is a story. So it depends. You gotta take in the story of the events and how this that happened. But for example, someone in the West that has, you know, out of their own way, married a white person and this and that, then yeah, those people there, I see them as, you know, the ones that you should be worried about. But there's always a context for the ones in South America, so we shouldn't ignore that context too. You
Yeah.
can't just, you know, say they're not black fully.
Let me just add.
Yeah.
Let me just add to what expansionist just said. I think we need to accept the situation. We should not fight it and try to pretend that we are all the same. It is not. Even in Brazil, I watched one documentary about they were trying to get the queen of what's this called? This their famous Carnivore dance, right? There was a black lady, right, really dark skin, beautiful. She passed everything, but she was taken out because her color did not was not what they wanted. But if Brazil is that country that they don't see black as something different, why was she taken out just because she looked so black? They did not want that blackness to be the face of the Brazilian carnival. We can't be pretending. If they don't think, if it does not matter to them, that's fine. But that is the fact. People see you different. Oh, we are all the same. Brazil does not matter. We don't see color. The world sees color. I'll see this other guy. He was in China, and the China told him, "We like black people, but we want Obama kind of black people." What does that mean? They want a different kind of black people, the mixed race one. You see, I would like Obama kind of black people. The world sees us. If America is claiming ignorant and they think they can just go like and they can just like dismiss the fact of race by just speaking it, that's America. But out of America, there's so many other continents that see the reality.
Nah, for sure, man. So definitely there got to be a bit of leeway and understanding towards those people that were enslaved and, you know, they ended up becoming mixed, like the people in Brazil and just South Latin America, I'd say in general, because the Anglo America, for example, as in the Caribbean, they identify with their blackness at least, but they have a struggle with identifying with Africans. So that's a whole different battle there that's going on in the Caribbean. And then you go to the Americas. Recently, you know, those people were probably the most pro-black people that was out there back in the day in the 60s, civil rights movement and, like, you know, going into the early 90s and that. But something happened recently where, you know, now you got these people that not turned that look like, you know, Nana Akufo, and they think they're Indian, or some of them will say that, you know, so they have all these different things there. Some of them will think, no, we've been here, we are black Americans that have been here already, none of that stuff happened, but we don't want nothing to do with Africa. So it's like, you know, there's so many different stories and so many different narratives that it's just there's an agenda that's being pushed to, you know, kind of push these people away from Africa, or, you know,
Yeah,
blackness
but
at
but
least.
but,
So
but this is the thing. Expansion is. I will never put down an African American who says I'm not African. I will not. I will not. I will not disagree with him. It just depends his culture. You understand? If he says he's not an African, that's okay. Why do you want him to be African? Let him be. We've got so many Africans to deal with. You understand? I'm not worried about people. They might have a reason. They might have a reason to think they're not Africans. They don't feel Africa. They don't know nothing about Africa. It's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't even worry about them. My problem is
your
people
your problem is
forcing.
the blackness,
Brother, it
innit?
is very
The
dangerous, brother. The fact that you are not identifying with the African continent is very dangerous. Because remember this, you know, brother. Words have power. Right. So, for example, as what Brother Kasari was saying, when it suits people to be black, they will participate into it because certain parts of being black or the culture will give you access, right? But if you're getting black people who came from West Africa, right, and was brought to the Caribbean, because we've got proof and evidence of that, right?
Yeah.
And then brought to the Americas, and you're saying that you're not African, that is naturally going to have a hatred, right, for all African people. For example,
Yeah, you're
have,
right.
you have a thing called the Berawanis, right? Now the Berawanis, Brother Expansion can elaborate this, right? I believe they are what they'll be classed as half and half, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
they
half
don't
half.
identify as an African and that. And we know that they're put in certain positions to be a buffer class to prevent those who are not.
No. That's a big misstatement because the Barwanis and any mixed Somali is a 0.5 in the political system, whereas me, ethnic Somali, I'm represented as 1. So we really deal with our mixed problem. We don't. No mixed man can lead Somali. It will never happen. But for example, I have a question for you, Kel. I have a Jamaican brother, like, one of my close friends. Till
Right.
today, this guy, he don't identify with African. He says, I
Right.
don't come from there. I'm a yard man. You know, I've been here all my life. No. So how do you tackle that issue in the Caribbean? I say because they identify with black, but they don't identify with African, and that don't. In my opinion, that the black factory is Africa. So, what do you think the
Right.
issue is there? Do you think?
Here's the thing, brother. Growing up in the early 80s, right? Because I'm a 70s baby, right? Unfortunately,
You're
if
70s. You speak
late
like 20, man.
Yeah, he's a big man. Still,
Wow, you have a voice of a 20 years old. It's all right.
no.
That's good. That's
I'm a
good.
father and grandfather. I mean, but what I notice is that unfortunately, if you identified yourself as a Nigerian, Ethiopian, etc., an African, right, you'll get bullied on an African, but it wasn't rated. Do you understand? So the Rastafari movement and the Pan-Africanist movement, they would market the term African, that yes, we're all African, is great, etc. Right? The problem is some of the Jamaicans, right? A lot of them pushed Garvey away because when Garvey was dealing with the Afro Caribbeans in his time and that, right, it was very difficult to organize them because the unethical code of conduct system, white supremacy, they disorganized black people with color. You had mulattoes, excuse me for saying that, quadroon, all these different color factors. It was very difficult. So they went against Garvey. Do you understand? So if you use a different shade of black, we couldn't be in the same category. So a lot of the Jamaicans, the Caribbeans, right, they have that kind of mindset. So when you say Africa and that, due to the fact that they all believe that our ancestors sold us and except, but there's proof and evidence that you weren't like that, right?
Yeah, I
Exactly.
got a
No,
question.
but Kel,
I
though,
got a
I
question for
believe that.
expansionist.
Yeah, go on.
Expansionist. I got a question for you, brother. What about the Somali men that say, if it ain't Adan, then I ate my an, right? What about
Those Somali men,
what about
I
Somali
believe
men
they
who are
should
looking
be.
for the Adan? So what
Yeah, but that's
you see what I'm saying?
unsynchronized. Yeah, it's unsynchronized because I've been to Somalia and that.
Yeah, exactly that.
And the dark,
Nah, but
and the
let me quickly answer
dark-skinned
that,
black
Kel.
woman, the dark-skinned black woman, no disrespect,
Those Somalis that
is more
wanna
favored.
say Adan.
Are you sure
Yeah.
expansion that Somali men don't want Adan women, man? They're fetishizing them. They're saying that I don't
Yeah,
want.
Bro,
I've read some
the
posts
ones that
saying I don't want to eat.
the ones that go for Adan woman.
Yeah.
What's
The ones
Adan?
that go for Adan woman, I
Adan is like the light
believe that
skinned
they should
Arab
be
women.
Okay.
white. Adan means white. Not
Yeah.
Arab.
Okay.
We say Arab to them.
It is just the
Anyone
Arab
who
ones
goes
that
for
look
a
white.
white woman, anyone who goes for a white woman, they should be castrated. You know, because in Somalia, no white person can walk freely. They will get kidnapped and they will get money will be taken from them. So
Yeah,
in
but
my opinion,
expansionist,
the
you
ones that
must.
mix, but Snake Man, I'm being like politically, if they mix with the white people, then they're excommunicated. They can't really come back to Africa because with their family, with their white woman or whatever, you know, because it won't be a good thing, man. That we hate those people, you know. So it's a
No,
whole
but
different.
expansionist,
You see how
we
you
must
guys hate
always.
you see how you guys hate like for example, how do I put it into perspective? You see how the because the hate we have for the white man, we used to have sayings back in the day, even back in the day, like when the colonial times, we used to have sayings where if you kill a white man, you go to heaven, and those type of things, you know. So with us, we have a culture of we hate them people, man. So even like the ones that if I come home with a white woman, mom's gonna tell me get the fuck out of the house, fam. Don't ever come home with no white woman. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, but expansionists must understand this is the internet. Like, all the things that happens on the internet is for the West. Like I always told people like that. One thing you would be surprised if all African would have internet and would voice their opinion on the internet would turn African in an instant. But most Africans are not on the internet. So what you hear is a very westernized version of what is actually happening on the continent. Like that's always say. If some people on the internet say something, and then white people come to me and show me that, I say to them, if you don't get that shit away from me, that is your Musungu thing. I'm something different. That is yours. That's all yours. That's all yours. That has nothing to do with me.
Exactly. Even Kaizo, yeah, with this people, if I call you Arab in Somalia, that's a diss, you know. Like for example, if someone who's he's not from, like, let's say for me, if you come from Kenya to Somalia, or you come from the UK to Somalia, or America to Somalia, they'll call you Arab because you get me, like you get me, and it's a diss. You get me, so we don't really fuck with no one, man. If you're not Somali, it's not right. That's the type of mentality we have.
I think that my point is
Go on,
said that we're different from biracial people. If the Americans want to be that, okay, it's fine, but that's not just the reality. I have my friend, he's mixed race. I used to work with him. He's a proud mixed race boy. I like him. You understand? He said, no. He feels comfortable being mixed. He does not want to identify as black. He told me he's traveled. He told me he went to Egypt. He just needs to dress like an Arab, and they start speaking Arabic to him. He goes to, he can blend in many other countries. Why does he need to be a dusty African? He does not want to, and that is okay.
That's dangerous because if you're getting biracial Africans, right, going under the identity of mulatto and mixed race, you know that they can have 1 foot in the power structure and then 1 foot when it comes to us. That's very misleading. They must be.
I just wanted to say Egypt is in Africa, so that's the African nature.
That's very dangerous, man. For political science, you have to identify with something that we understand. For example, African people, we all suffer due to white supremacy with discrimination of the hair texture, the phenotype, and the complexion. You see?
Is that why black people, like, other Africans, they always come at the horns?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because for example, we were speaking about this the other day and that, right? Some of us, some of our family members, like parents and that, they have the East African phenotype and not used to certain things. For example, when I first saw Tupac Shakur on the because Tupac Shakur's father.
That's a Somali man.
No, he's a Libyan. He's a Grenadier. He's from Libya, right? Originally.
Wait. Say that again. Wait. See, I was joking about the Somali thing, but Tupac is Libyan.
His father's Libyan, yeah. Libyan descendant, yeah. You can research it, right?
Fully Libyan.
Yeah, ancient Libyan. Ancient Libyans are black.
Yeah, it must be an ancient Libyan because, boy, Libyans are Arab now.
But when I first saw him, right, I remember growing up, people used to say, Tupac have the phenotype of the West African. But when I first saw him, I didn't find it strange because one of my parents, they have that phenotype. So it's just normal. But if you don't understand the different phenotypes, the white supremacy chip activates and you start discriminating. So that's why, for example, with the Somalians, the East Africans and that, right, that phenotype, right, is indigenous to there. It's just that the non-Africans will say, this is African, you have to have this phenotype. Remember Henry the Explorer in the 1600s, when he came to West Africa, he saw one of the dark Africans and assumed all African people are dark skin. You understand? So like phenotype thing, if you don't have that phenotype, you're not this, you're not that. But generally, Europeans got the phenotype from East Africa. We had it first. You see what I'm saying?
Of course, exactly that. Yeah. But people don't want to accept that.
Yeah.
But also, I was gonna say as well, with when it comes to in Africa, we should have a category for the mixed people. Like we shouldn't really identify them because as being black.
Exactly.
That'll be a big issue. At least if they're not indigenous to the land, we shouldn't identify. If they have any unindigenous, lineage or whatever, and like you get me, or they come from a tribe that that has roots from outside
Mhm.
Africa, or whatever, then definitely
Exactly,
they should
because
have
this is the
some
thing.
sort of thing.
That's just common sense. Just imagine there is a race war now. Who do you think the mixed race is going to fight for? Let's assume a mixed race person that's okay with the mom and the dad, they're living in the same family. I think the best fight, the best size for them to they'll be neutral. That's the best option for them. Neutrality. You understand? I don't think they're gonna fight
Exactly,
on any
neutrality.
I
side.
mean, if it
Exactly.
was a race war and white people act like they always act, most of those mixed race people will go to concentration camp.
And I help the whites, brother Snakes, man, because historically, biracial Africans have all not. I'm talking the synchronized one. We know that they've helped with the struggle, but they've always leaned towards the Asian, the Middle Eastern, and the Europeans. So them having their own category, brother, that's very dangerous because they can say to themselves, "Well, we can use the power structure." And
That's a great point, man.
because remember this, brother, Mahatma Gandhi is an Ethiopian descendant. People don't understand that.
Gandhi.
Ethiopian descent.
Wait,
Yes,
wait. Are you talking about Habashi? Is he part of the Sidi people?
Mahatma Gandhi, brother, he's Ethiopian, and I'm not too sure what tribe, but he's Ethiopian.
Talking of it now, I tried to figure his face. That might be true. But
Yeah, Gandhi, boy, but he hated Africans, though, man.
I know, but
Yeah,
because that's
let's
Habisha. But you say
guys, let's
Habisha
let
is
the
African, so it's all right.
exactly,
guys, let's let the sister talk. Go ahead,
my brother.
Sour Soap Bush from the island.
Good morning. You can hear me? Good morning.
Good morning. We can't hear
Yeah,
you
we
too
can
loud.
get you
Are you,
so pushy.
are you able to go a little bit louder?
Done. You can hear me better? Let me just turn it.
Not much better. I don't know. Yeah, maybe
Go
you
to your
can.
settings, make your microphone volume loud.
No, I've tried that
Yoda,
already.
go closer to the mic.
Hold on, let me turn
Try to kiss the microphone.
Yeah, kiss it.
on. You can hear me better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yes, we can hear you very
Yeah,
well, so stop.
I just have to talk louder, I guess. I was saying, when Kaizo was asking me to join at the time, I couldn't, so I can only talk for a few minutes. But in terms of like in my specific country, like we don't walk around referring to people like, even though people are black or white or whatever race
So,
or
sorry, what country are you from, please?
Antigua.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So people don't walk around saying, "Oh, this person's black, they're Arab or white." Like they are, but or mixed. You just know, but it's not something you just walk around saying. You just kind of mentally make a note and you keep it moving. But in terms of mix, like we don't class everybody as black. Like if you're mixed, you're mixed. And
Okay.
I was saying in the chat that even the people that look black are mixed, some of them, a lot of them, because when you see their family, like their grandparents or sometimes even their parents, is like, okay, it's just that they came out looking one way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not mixed. And I was saying as well, this idea that, oh, just because you're black or you're in a black relationship, that means that, oh, you're for black people. I kind of disagree with that, because at the end of the day, I see from just everyday living, I see people that are in these relationships and they don't like, they don't really like black people. I mean, even though everybody's black, and I'm not talking about fair skin black, I'm talking about dark skin black people. And these are some of them bleach heavy and so on. So I mean, I don't always agree with this idea that, oh, just because the person is mixed, that means they're going to be against black people, and vice versa. There's no 100% guarantee with that. It can go either way. It just depends on the mindset of that individual. Like that's what I always like when I hear these conversations that, oh, the mixed people are all going to be against us. I find it hard that all 100%, if there's 100 mixed people, you're telling me all 100 are going to go against black people. No, they're going to probably be the majority, but there's always going to be those just the same way, the opposite end. Just because everybody's black in a room, that doesn't mean everybody's for you. That doesn't mean everybody has your best interest. It just has to do with the mindset of the individuals at that point. And so that's what I want to get. But in terms of like African, the question I saw somebody saying, like, Caribbean people with African considering, like, everybody learn in school that if you're black in the Caribbean, you're of African descent, right? But then to identify as African means something else. Like, I wouldn't call myself African because I'm born here. To say that I'm African to me means I'm from Africa, meaning that I was born there or my parents were from there. But then you can't, if my mother is from here, my father's from here, my grandparents are from here, my great grandparents are from the Caribbean, my great, so like, how can I then jump up and say, oh, I'm African? So the next question is, which part of Africa I'm from? I can't say that. So then how can I class myself as African? But I would say I'm of African descent. That's where my ancestors came from. But I myself am not African. And it's not that is a slight to say, oh, I hate Africa. It's just to admit that I'm not from there. Like some
I
people
can't lie,
say,
I
oh,
fully
I
agree
agree
with her.
with you. You're
Kafari,
100%
I
correct.
fully agree with her as well, man, because
like
yeah, man, if we look at it from that
recently,
side,
sorry to interject, recently
go on.
somebody came up to me and said, they asked me if I'm from Africa. And it was like maybe 2 weeks ago, I went to buy some mangoes or whatever, some fruits on the side of the road. And the man was like, oh, if I'm African. I said, are you? And the man was like, no. I said, so how come you think I'm African? I said, both of us are black. How come I look African and you don't look African? And he's like, oh, because I'm not dressed a certain way. And I'm like, I was like, what kind of weird thing is that? He said, because I don't have on any makeup, I don't have on any jewelry, I don't have on like certain clothes, I don't look Caribbean. So I said, okay. I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. And he was surprised that I asked him why he doesn't look African and so on. So it's just, I don't know. It's weird. Like, yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you a question, right? Let's say a mixed race person, right, gets like a full blown mixed race person. One parent is European and one person is like African, let's say sub-Saharan, right? They have a mixed race child. If that mixed race child gets married to a European, how you identify the child, a black or white or mix?
Well, if it depends, I guess, how they look. If they look white, I
Ah.
guess people would just consider them white. But if they look mixed, then they would just be mixed. So I think it's more as well how they look, because
What is the possibility that they may come out look black? Is it possible?
it they might not look very, because okay, I've seen people that are half white and half black that look black. Like, I
Yes,
mean,
yes,
their
yes, yes.
hair
That
is
I know.
tight. They don't have no wave in their hair. They don't
Yes,
have no straightness. It's just
I've
kinky
seen
I
hair.
such.
mean,
Yes,
Obama looks like like one of the Kenyan tribes, to be honest.
exactly, exactly.
And in the
It's a
same
perfect
token,
example. Yes.
I've seen a woman. I know of this girl. Her mother is black, like real dark skin, and her father is white. And the girl came out white, looking with red hair, blue eyes. Her hair is like practically straight, and if you see her, you would think she's white. But if you know who her parents are, you would know she's mixed. So I guess it's also how you look. So if you look white, then people think you're white. If you look mixed, people think you're mixed. That's how it is. Or if you're black, and you walk around, because you do have those that will say, oh, my great grandmother was Portuguese. And I'm like, okay, I don't really see it, but okay, if you say
Okay.
so. Or, my aunt is, or my great was in the East India. And I was like, okay,
hmm
all right. And so, like,
Yeah,
I
but
mean, I
that's
can't
so. I think.
argue with, I
Yeah, I
can't
think it
argue with the
boils
person.
down. It boils down with the look, because if people did not look a certain way, we will not have this debate. So mix is how you look. People are gonna judge you how you look, and but
That's
I don't
right.
think people. I don't think like mixed race people will be really considered black as really really rare. You understand? Like a black man and a white woman has a child that they're black, like sub-Saharan African. That will be rare,
But
rare something that's gonna happen.
But Kifara, I have to say, right? Like the mixed people here, I find this is my opinion. Other people might differ, but I find in the Caribbean, like mixed race people, they act more black than black people, if that makes any sense. So if
Yeah, it's
like,
a coping. To me, it's coping mechanism. It's acceptance. It's cry for acceptance. The black people don't have to the black let's listen in. The black people don't have to do anything, because you see them, you know who they are. They don't need to tell you anything. But since they have this identity crisis, they want to be black because the world sees them as black. So they want to make that become a reality. So that's why some of them act like they'll stand for Black Lives Matters.
But
It's a
do you,
coping.
yeah.
They want to consolidate their identity. That's why.
Do you blame them? Because I don't blame them. They have a
Well,
story.
wait, this is the
When it
thing.
comes
This
to
is the thing
Caribbean,
because they want to identify as one side. Why? Why don't you
but
identify as a mixed
but
race?
Kifari,
That's
you
why I
don't,
like
you can't,
UK.
yeah, you
UK on
can't.
the
But for,
paper,
yeah,
you need to. They even put Caribbean, African, mixed race. It's clear because they know that there's a difference.
no,
Be
for
a
sure,
mixed
for
race.
sure. But I don't blame the Caribbean people for mixing, man. You get? I blame the people in the Europe, the West that come on to the West, that end up mixing like freely, for example. But the Caribbean, they have a story, those people are taken there as basically, on not a good light. So you have to have with that
Yeah,
context, you have to have a different way of approaching it, man.
but I do blame them for it because there was a period in history, brother, especially over the UK, that you could not touch a white woman in UK. Remember the last black man to be hanged, brother, in the UK, was a Somali man, You do know that, don't you, brother? The last
When did that
to
happen?
be, the last man to be hanged in the UK was was a black man from Somalia. He was with
What?
What did he do?
What was his yeah? What was his
well,
crime? Yeah.
his crime was that he was with a white woman, married her, etc. And we know when it comes to the ICE woman, is that when their unethical code of conduct chip activates, then they say to themselves, "Oh, the black man raped." So she went and told the people that the black man raped, and then they hung him. This is the last black man to be hung. So you do
Damn.
hold the Caribbean people that why are you mixing, right, with people who collectively discriminate, and you're helping them with that discrimination via unethical code of conduct, white supremacy. So, bro, you have to hold the Caribbean people accountable and other Africans who have not understood that whoever you marry, you have to marry the community. They're going to learn our culture, come on the continent, and try and colonize it. You see what I'm saying? And that, so that's problematic, brother. You have to practice nationalism. You have to hold the Caribbean people accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but listen, because this year goes into a wider topic here. But I don't want to change the topic. But I'm just gonna just throw it out there. So when it comes to this whole, okay, like the black label, cool. That's you have to be, you can't be admixed. You gotta be fully black, or at least have come from a fully African tribe. But when it comes to the term African, how do you deal with people, for example, on the continent, like the North Africans, that are basically they're white people that are on the African continent? Do you classify them as African, or would you classify them as something else? Half African, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they're not African, brother. I've said this before, right? The late Khalid Abdul Muhammad, right, who was a Pan Africanist, black, the term black, brother, is culture, consciousness, color, and connection to the creator. We use it as a political form, brother. You see, the Honorable Marcus Garvey did not want black people to call themselves Negroes and black. When he was asked, "Are you a Jamaican or an African?" he says, "I will never trade an island over a continent," right? It's just that because we've been worked on, brother, right? In order to gather the people, them, it's like, okay, black, oh, genetically dominant. Okay, let's see if you can synchronize. That's all it is. Really and truly, brother, there is no power in the term black. There's power in Africa, though, because there's resources, history, there's understanding of political and military side. Mixed biracial Africans, but there's no such country called biracial. You see what I'm saying in that, right? There's no such thing. There's no power in it. But this is why when it comes to the North Africans, the modern day Asian, modern day Middle Easterns and that, they identify with a country because there's power in there. They're all biracial, brother. The Europeans, they are amalgamation of different shades of black people. You do understand that, innit? They don't call themselves mixed race. They identify with a landmass. So really identifying with Africa is more better than black, Negro, and all these things. However, politically we understand that the Somali is black, genetically dominant. You see, oh, the biracial African, whether you're light skin or dark skin, oh, you're genetically dominant. So that's why we use the term. However, to identify with Africa is more better, brother, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, people always give me this argument. Why do you call yourself black? But I tell these people, you call Europeans white. Why do you call them white? If you think it's wrong for us to be identified as black, to take the black identity, stop calling Europeans white. If you call them Caucasians and call us African, you can say I'm not black and you say those are white people. It doesn't make sense to me. We need to take the black term and make it something desirable by most people. That's just what's going to happen. I don't see myself. I don't feel anyhow someone calling me black. Of course, I feel to me that's some power in itself. So there's nothing wrong to be called black. We should just make the term black something more powerful.
That's
You
what
know.
it is, Kafari. That's the whole point why people are
Yeah,
really
I agree.
identifying with that term because the black term has been shrouded with
Yes,
negativity.
I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we definitely rebrand that label, then definitely, man, more people start being proud of that label for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people that are doing it, different cultures. People want to call white people want to call themselves the N word. Indian people want to call themselves the N word. They feel like empowered that
Yeah,
if you call
exactly.
them like that, and it's something. So because it's getting powerful each day. So I'll give a round of applause to the African Americans for that because they take a word that is really really like really insultive word and try to make it like a show thing. You understand? So it's just the empowerment of the people. Yeah, but yeah. So I was trying to talk to Soursop. Do you think I know Kale is not does not agree with this point, but do you think it's a good idea for mixed race people to identify themselves as their own category? I just want to make it clear when I talk about mixed race people, I'm talking about first generation mixed race people, one European and one sub-Saharan or African.
Okay, shout out, shout out. I got a question for Sour Soap Bush. What about the economics of your country? You said it's Antigua. Which rate? I know black's the majority, about 80%, but like, or people identify as black, but you guys are admixed, meaning that's why that you mentioned like a really dark skinned woman marrying a white man may come out with more like white features than a child, right? Intergenerational admixed people produce that. So question is here, what's the economics situation in Antigua? Who's are the mixed or Asian or white population more disproportionately richer and more power, or not really? Again, taking population into account.
Um, the population is 90 something percent black. It's not 80 something, it's 90 something percent black. And in terms of well, I'm in the Northern Caribbean. So in the Northern Caribbean, most of the people on my side is dark skinned. Of course, you have mixed and other stuff like that. But in terms of the economics, most of the businesses here are mostly owned by Arabs. Not all, but a lot of the businesses are owned by Arabs.
Oh
But
shit.
that happened. But that happened during my my parents' generation. So my mother and father's generation. That's when that happened. But then they were empowered by the black people in power at the time to do that. So a lot of the businesses are, well, historically from as far as I can remember, were Arab, but we don't really call them Arabs. These Arabs, quote unquote, they've been here for like generations. So they speak the dialect. They hang out with you. You go by their house. They go school with you.
Do
They
you
live
have
in.
mugs? Do you have mugs over there?
We have what?
Mugs like
Masks.
Mask? What do you
yes.
mean, like? What do you mean by mask? Like if we wear
Mosque.
masks?
Mosque.
Oh,
Temple.
mosque. Oh, sorry. Those Arabs here are not Muslims. They're Christian. From the
All
Levant.
right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Okay.
Arabs that we
Exactly.
have are Christian Arabs, so
All
they're
right.
mostly
Interesting.
Catholics.
Okay. Okay.
We only have one mosque here, but in terms of like so the Arabs here are mostly
Okay.
Christian,
Christians.
so
All
they're
right.
from mostly Syria, Lebanon.
Maybe
We
Egypt. Some Egyptians are Christian as well.
Man,
Ah,
that's
okay.
inverse.
we have a few from Palestine. So yeah, but they're mostly from Syria and Lebanon, the Arabs here, and maybe a few from
Okay.
Palestine.
Yes, so
Interesting.
someone asked how you found this channel, right? Mrs. H wants to know.
Oh, how? Okay, I used to watch Mr. Uganda's channel, and then Treasure. There was like a bunch of these channels I used to watch, and Kaizo was on one of them. And then he used to always give like some good, like his discussions were very interesting. And then
Really? Where was
yes, I used like on the different channels I used to watch. Kaiser would sometimes drop in. I would listen to him. And I said, okay, he sound intelligent, so I started
really?
to. That's how I ended up following his channel. And
Kaizo, so you go
yeah.
somewhere else giving intelligent conversation on your channel, you're just being dusty.
But so I said Arab. So now recently, maybe in the last 10 years, is now Chinese. So the Chinese have pushed the Arabs out. And so they've basically kind of started to take over where the Arabs were. So that's how it is. But you do have a lot of the businesses are owned by other Caribbean people and a few local businesses. Yeah. But it's Arab, Chinese, white people. We do have white people, but they don't really have much of a presence here. It's mostly the Arabs have the power in terms of like money, as well as you do have black people that have money and power as well. So it's the politicians.
People from Antigua, did you migrate like to other, maybe America, United States too? Do you have a migration problem as well?
Well, a lot of so my island is considered more wealthier in a sense compared to some other islands. So you do have a lot. So a lot of my people tend to go either U.S. Virgin Islands, or they would go to America, Canada. Those are the places that they would migrate to. And then in my island now, a lot of people from Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Guyana, in South America, they migrate here, as well as from the other smaller islands. A lot of them migrate here. And the reason why they migrate here is like a stepping stone to America, because it's harder for some. Yeah, it's harder for some islands to get visas to go to America and Canada. So they'll come here, live for a few years, get their citizenship, and then when they get the citizenship,
They say we have
move
almost
on.
200 Cameroonians.
Wait, how long, Kifaru? I got a question actually, and this has been perplexed me for a while. Why is it that Caribbean black nations are doing well, but African nations aren't doing well? This might actually demystify the myth of the African DNA and IQ, because what I've noticed is when I speak to Caribbeans online, like you, Dr. Mary, Antoinette, etc., there's really high IQ. The Caribbeans in the UK, though, a little bit different. So what's going on? How come Caribbeans are superior to the Africans and the Black Americans? This is something that's perplexing me a little bit. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that we're superior. I think it just has to do with the environment. And I guess it's easier to manage a small country than it is to manage a big nation, because like
we got countries like Gambia with like 2 people but still in poverty. So clearly you guys, there's something special about you, right?
I don't know the dynamics for some of these countries in Africa, but I think it just has to do with it has to just do with proximity. We're close to the US in terms of physical location. Some of us, we got our independence in the 60s. I think it's in the 60s. Yeah, some of us.
The Pan-African wave.
I think it's 60s.
That's 60s.
My country used to be under the British rule at some point, but I just think it has to do with it because we're smaller, and we tend to pull more together in terms of our small nation. So like my country and several others, we share one currency. So it's like what, 9 of the smaller islands, all of us share one currency. We have same institution. So like we have a university called University of the West Indies, which is located they have four main campuses. One is in my country that recently opened up like maybe 5 years ago. And then you have one in Jamaica, one in Trinidad, one in Barbados. So we have institutions that we share, we travel frequently throughout. So I don't know if all of that helps with like our thinking, and then we tend to be in tune to like what's going on in the world. Not everybody, don't get me wrong, we do have retarded people here. So so everybody's not high IQ as you think.
I see.
We do have degenerates and other people here. It's not all rainbows and lollipops, but I
Yeah,
think it just has to do with
yeah. I just read it says additionally, it's the Caribbean tax haven attracting high net worth individuals seeking. Okay, you guys are where the money gets laundered now.
Guys, be careful with the glazing. Don't forget to have a girlfriend.
Kaz, I have a question for
Come on, Snake Man. Shout out to you, Sasso. But now let me shout out to today's sponsor again, man. Shout out to D White Man, Masha Kaizore for Matifi for another fat £50 super chat. Yo, where the Black African super chats at? You see, this is why I love D White Man. So shout out to you, Matifi, for a total 110 euros. Mashallah, man. So shout out to
Matifi, I'm sorry, but
thank very much. You know,
thank you for the donation, but Matifi, I must now pull out a Nigerian. You never paid Kaizo enough money to sing your national anthem, Matifi.
Yeah, it's working now.
So if you really want Kaizo to be the highest minstrel,
I
you must
play
pull more money. Pull more money. You must pull more money.
The Nigerians set the standard to £500. That's what it needs to play an anthem.
Yeah,
you can't bring that down. That's
make it £600. Show us your vital superiority.
Yeah. Nigerians set it to £500, so at least £500. You want to play your anthem. Nigerians are keeping the bar high, but we appreciate you. That's generosity. We appreciate anyone that can spend any money on this Dusty channel. That we appreciate.
Kaz, can you hear me now? Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sweet. I have a question for Soursop as well about Haiti as well. For example, Soursop, you're from Haiti, right?
Pardon?
Are you from Haiti?
No, I'm not. I'm from Antigua.
It's
a little island, very small. You can't see it on the map.
Okay, I was gonna ask you how do you feel about Kaizo? You know, the Kenyans invading Haiti with disguised as police officers.
Oh my, I don't know what to say about that. Haiti has a lot of issues.
America, they've played Haiti by
but I don't
the
understand Haiti. What has Haiti got that American want? I don't understand. Why are they so destabilized?
Well,
I think they have resources, though.
Exactly.
From what I used to hear, they used to have gold
those
and
resources
certain
I want to
things,
know because maybe I need to do more research. I don't know.
Also, Kifari, do you know Haiti alone used to feed the whole of Europe under the French?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just want to pay them back for defeating the French and for humiliating the French. I think they hate it. I think they hate the fact that Haiti defeated the whole French Empire. I think it's something that they don't like that history. I don't know, but it all boils down to the Haitians. Yeah, it all boils down to the Haitians.
Imagine defeating Napoleon.
Napoleon, exactly.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, so they should put themselves together, man. They should put themselves together. They can be great. They did it once, they can still do it again. So,
but do you think that the mulatto next door, because it's part of the conversation too, they have mulattoes next door called Dominican Republic, and these people have been, trying to keep Haiti down. So how do you deal with that?
I don't know if they don't. I don't know if they're trying to keep Haiti down. If Haiti can concentrate, I think they just need to sort out themselves. The Dominican Republic, they don't have nothing to do with Haitians if Haitians are not trying to go to your country. I don't know what the really benefit.
That's right,
I don't know. Yeah. Just stay in Haiti and try to sort out yourself.
The problem with Haiti is that they have too much corruption. Like since I know myself, I've never heard anything positive other than like the French the revolution and all that stuff. But like in terms of recent times, I've never heard anything positive from Haiti. Like it in terms of like the crime, the education, like the biggest issue to me, I think with Haiti is like the corruption by the different persons that were in power. Because like growing up, you used to hear about Papa Doc and Baby Doc and some of those leaders that they had that ravage the country. And the thing is as well is like the education system down there, I think from my understanding is not free, you have to pay. So they have a high illiteracy rate down there. A lot of people can't read, a lot of people can't write in those parts. So because of that, it's hard to really bring a certain level of development when you don't really have a large pool of educated human resource. So, I mean, it has a lot of issues. And the thing is, I think a lot of the people that go away from that country and get educated, a lot of them don't go back. Some of them might go and visit, but I think a lot of them don't go back and really develop the place. So, because of that, I don't know what to say. And then most of the other Caribbean countries, for the most part, we kind of ignore Haiti to a certain degree. Like, even though it's a part of CARICOM, we don't really mix with Haitians, and I think it's because of the language barrier, because Haitians speak French, and most of the countries within CARICOM speak English.
Yeah, they
So
speak French, but they speak really weird
yeah,
French. Your French is really weird. Sometimes I need to put my ears really top to listen to understand what they're talking about. It's a French. I think French mixed with patois. You know, they
Yeah,
have a
that's right.
they have a yeah local French that they actually speak.
Yeah, the St. Lucians as well. They have
Mhm.
similar as well.
Again, I'm soursop bush. Do you know the whereabout of those 200 Cameroonians in your country? I heard something like that. You know anything?
well, it was actually 900 Cameroon. Well, it was about, what happened is they had a, I don't know. I don't know all the details, but they had a flight that came from Nigeria, like several flights that came from Nigeria to my
Ah,
country,
okay.
and it was supposed to be tourism for tourists. And then it was like 900 of them came, and then 600 of them from different countries in Africa. It was like all over, but the majority of them were from Cameroon, and they were on our radio station saying that they're trying to escape persecution in Cameroon. They said they're from the English-speaking part, and that
Ambazonia.
they want refugee status, and the government. You know, people up here were upset because if 900 people just show up out of the blue,
Yeah,
or
that's a
600
lot.
people, that's a lot of people. And a lot of them, because here is very expensive, and so a lot of them, people had to be helping them, giving them money for and feeding them. Some of them put them up in their house for free and all kind of stuff. But and some people, of course, took advantage of them and scammed them, but that's another story. But the government said, okay, fine, y'all can stay. We're gonna waive certain rights, in terms of, let's waive certain things that y'all would have to think, like work permits, and y'all can stay if y'all want to. And a lot of them left on boats, like they hired some kind of boatman to take them to the US Virgin Islands. Some of them went down on some boat to South America, like try to escape, but then a boat sank with some of them, and a lot of them drowned going to
Oh,
trying to get to US Virgin Islands. So right now you hardly see any of them. Most of them left on boats or like got out of the country, however, because it's very easy. Some of them went to, I think, St. Martin, because St. Martin is a Dutch country, a Dutch island that's nearby. Some of them went there. Some of them, like I said, went US Virgin Islands. Some of them, I think, tried to get down to South America. So most of them are gone. You don't see them before anymore. Like before, you were seeing them everywhere, but I don't see them anymore.
yeah. The thing is that I think Cameroon has got a visa free to Antigua. That's why. That's a sad story.
Yeah, it was very sad.
And shout out to another super chat from our sister Dua Mohammed over there with the 200 Kenyan shillings. Shout out to my
That's you,
Somali.
Kaizo. That's you, Kaizo.
No. She called in before you guys forgot. She called in. She said it's not me, etc. So no, this is not me. Shout out. I'm not a Somali woman, and I'm not light skinned. So shout out to Dua Mohammed, right? My Somali sister over there. Where the super chat at? Over there to One Man Went to Most channel. So yeah, she's saying, hey, One Man to Most people, you guys are not donating. We got over 50 people watching, so go ahead and send a fat super chat to One Man Went to Ho. Anyways, I got a question for you. Another question for you, South Bush, right? So these people here saying, "Oh yeah, you found Kaizo. Apparently he was intelligent. Then you came to his channel. Did you find us still intelligent, or are we too dusty? What is your thoughts, my sis over there?"
I mean, I see a lot of your perspective. Like, yes, the place gets dusty sometimes. Sometimes I have to put on an oxygen mask with the amount of dust kicking up. But overall, when you fan away the dust, I see some of the things that you're saying. Like, you drop a lot of points, but everybody's not going to see your perspective, because I guess the angle that you're going for is not necessarily always a pan-Africanist. I'm not pan-Africanist, but it's not always geared towards that. So if you're inclined to that, they're going to disagree with you. But yes, the channel sometimes gets dusty, but a lot of times I find when it's just like the African, like, this is just my opinion, I find when it's just y'all, the African people talking, the conversations are very deep. It gets very, like, I learn a lot and so on. But then when certain people join into the conversation, it just goes south. It just takes a nosedive, and it goes into this angle, and I'm like, oh, gee, the conversation just
Right.
get mash up. But other than that, a lot of times the panel discussions are very informative for me personally.
Hmm. No, it makes sense. Like, obviously, the dust, I curate it a little bit. The only time I actually purposely decided to make a dusty show was the Somali one, like 2 days ago. Like, I purposely made that stream to be dusty. The other ones, the
Come on,
dust
man. Yeah, all your streams
self-created.
are
So
80% dusty, man.
But you know what, right? Remember people like Duff, the one who loves the geopolitics. He only calls in on the dust. He doesn't call in when we're building a really high level, economics assessment. He only calls in for the dust. So we know these people who really secretly just wake up one day, man, the white man's been bad to me. I gotta go out here and beat some Africans. That's literally
As,
what some people wake up.
I just want to ask Sawasov, you said something about you not really from Africa. Is that your personal, is that just you, or is just some kind of a general mentality of people from Antigua? Is that just you, or just what most Antigua think about their African descent, but they don't really like connect like Africa?
Okay, so you have different people. So you have the Rastas. So you have the Rastafarians. They will be like, yeah, we're from Africa and stuff like that. You have those Pan Africanists. You have different types of people. Just like black people aren't a monolith. You have all types of people here. So you have those persons who are the Rastafarians that are like, yeah, we're all Africans, back to Africa, motherland. Then you have
Okay.
those that are the Pan-Africanists that like reparations and stuff like that, and we're from Africa. You have those people. So
All
they're
right.
not Rastas, but
Mm.
they're into the whole Pan-African thing.
Just like the
Um,
United States. Okay.
yes, and then you have the majority of the people
Okay.
who kind of, yes, we're African descent, and but we're from here. And I think I mentioned it a time in the chat in the panel, like, you notice, like, Europeans will go different parts in the world. They go to Australia, they conquer this part, and they'll say, I'm Australian. Or they go Canada, I'm Canadian. Or they go this place,
Yeah.
I'm this. But yeah, black people, no matter where we are, oh, we're just African. Like, even if we're
Mm.
here for like thousands, like, let's say thousands, like hundreds of years, we're not from that part. We're only from Africa. And I'm like, how is it that other races can go other places and they can claim that part and say this is where they're
Okay,
from? But yeah,
let me
black
just ask you
people are
like
just,
one question. When you see
yeah.
like African like culture, dance, do you connect with things like that? Do you think that's part of you? Do you think you understand?
Yeah, we have, okay, I'm not gonna lie, right? We have a lot of the cultures that, okay, I find Caribbean people per se, we tend to have a lot of the African tradition. So like what the Nigerians will call fufu. We have it here, but we call it fungi. It looks the same,
Okay.
it's cooked the same, but I think we use cornmeal instead. A lot of the
Oh.
foods that y'all have, we still have. Some of the words that you have in certain parts of Africa, we still use. Like,
Okay.
I've heard some Africans use the word nyam. We use the word nyam here, like eat greedily or
Mm.
something like that. So certain things from Africa is still present within the Caribbean. There's some Caribbean islands that still actually have African religions up to this day,
That's
and
cool.
practice these cultural practices. But in spite of all of that, we still like to have our identity. So just like our, in Africa they have the tribes, I guess you can say that our different countries are like the various tribes within the Caribbean, if you want to put it that way. And I mean, and even though we're Caribbean, we each have our own different cultures amongst one another. So like if you, the same way a Caribbean person, some Caribbean people might get upset if you say, oh, they're African. Some Caribbean people, if you're not from Jamaica, for example, some Caribbean people might be upset if you say they're Jamaican when they're not. Or some might say get upset if you call them St. Lucian and they're not, because then they it's not that we hate these other cultures, it's just that we're proud of whatever country we're from, and it's like that. So it's not no hate. I'm not saying that they're not Caribbean people that hate Africa. I'm not going to say that. They do have people, I guess, for whatever reason may not like Africans or whatever, because there's nothing where there's everybody loves everybody. That's ridiculous.
Are
But
you resident in Antigua or you're out of?
yeah, I live here. I always live here. I've been living here forever.
Okay, that's cool. Not
Yeah,
like
my
these dusty
internet is good.
Africans who run
I
away
got a
from
question for you,
Africa.
man. You guys are only 93,000 people. Are you all inbred like the Somalis?
Come on.
Oh my, I'm not going. I don't know. And that's another thing. I don't know why y'all like everybody keeps on bashing Somali people. From what I see, they
No, he
No,
speak
no,
loves
but
Somali. He loves
93,000,
Somali's people so
they,
much.
90.
That's why he can't stop talking
I don't
about
know
them.
why people always bashing them. I personally, yes, they have their ways, but I respect the way they are. So I don't have nothing against those people. But in terms of the inbreeding, I
That's
would just
because you
say
don't
that.
have to live next to them.
Oh God. Oh my
Oh
God.
God. But in terms of Caribbean people, there have always been migration from different islands. So like in some islands, I guess they might have quote unquote inbreeding, but in terms of like mine, there's always been constant migration of different islands. So like in my father's side of the family, we have people that are from Barbados, like maybe like 2 generations back. And then like my mother's side, there's people from like I think Martinique or Guadeloupe, the French islands. So like but there's always been constant migrations throughout the different islands. So I wouldn't say there's inbreeding. Yeah. No.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, interesting. But still, 93,000 people. You guys are all gonna be mixed, the
Bro, that's
same
a
people.
statistical error, bro.
No, but I mean, man, 93,000 people. Like, these niggas are all probably the
That's
same
smaller
people,
than a
man.
township.
That's what I'm trying to say. These guys are inbred. But you know what? That goes against inbred logic. Maybe we need blacks to be inbred. Oh shit, they inbred the high IQ ones. That's why they're doing well economically, Abby. Apart from the whole tax haven. I did research because I asked also, how come they're rich? I realized, yeah, most Caribbean islands are tax havens. That's why. The IQ problem is still
Okay,
there.
so
So tax
you know
haven.
most of that GDP that you see, it only exists in like 3 banks. It's not even in the economy, bro. What are you on about? Yeah, some of it will come into the economy, but most of it is just circulating in the banks. That's it.
Yeah, he has like GDP to me is not a good indicator of wealth because at the end of the day, I like from what I learned in economics is like you could have like a rich billionaire on the island and it would make the GDP seem high if you take in consideration like the money from that one person, but that
Yeah,
doesn't mean
true.
everybody is prospering from that one person that has the money. But at the end of the day, you do have money circulating in the country, but people tend to save all the money. Like
But then,
we don't
so
invest.
yeah, generally, I agree with you. But if you look at it
Kizo,
from
man,
this
fix your mic.
perspective, it's not me, it's South Soap, and she probably can't. So no, I generally agree with you, South Soap. But how about this, right? Like the fact, let's say the Kenyatta family, I can talk about them now that since they're not in power anymore. A lot of their money is in the Caribbean islands, right? What that means, that money is now doing business. That money can be lent out to you guys
That's
to
Kenyan
build,
money.
yeah, industries. So you guys are basically that billionaire money is working your banks to kind of go invest and industrialize and do like proper value added exports. So since you're next to America as well, of course, America is one of your trading partners. So you guys do have certain advantages by being close to the empire as well. But generally, I think from what I've seen, Caribbeans who are not from the UK, the ones who are in a Caribbean islands or America, they tend to be kind of high IQ still. Like even the way you guys speak, there's a certain elegance and shout out to the Caribbeans, man.
Man, Kaizo, get those balls back from the British.
No. Statement.
Just ask her, Kizo, just
Yeah,
ask her
but
for her number, bro. You don't have to pander this
No,
much.
no, no, no.
yeah,
Listen. I'm
but
a happily
Kaiser,
married man.
I don't want y'all to feel that everybody in the Caribbean is intelligent. You do have ignorant people. You have a lot. You do have a lot of ignorant people. It's just
I
that
can fire.
you do have a lot of ignorant people. A lot of people that are what you consider low IQ. It's just that I happen to have a certain amount of like knowledge or I guess um because maybe I went to university, I don't know, but it doesn't apply throughout everybody, you know. So I don't want people to just have this opinion of the Caribbean that everybody the same things that happen in Africa and in some other parts of the world. We have it. We have corruption. We don't have it maybe at the same level, but we do have corruption. We do have corrupt politicians. We do have all of that in these parts. So everything is not rainbow and lollipops. It's good living. If you have a good job, you can live comfortably. You can have a good living in these parts, but at the same time, it's not perfect.
I see. Okay, I see.
Some,
I
some
see.
Just the
Kaizo, why are you
Africans
acting
are
like you
asking
don't know who Arkan Fire is? Isn't
if you're
Arkan Fire
married.
Caribbean?
They're asking, are you married?
No, Jamaican. You know, the Jamaicans tend to be a little bit low IQ.
Arkan Fire lives in the US. He's not in Jamaica. He's scared of Jamaica. He just talk big. He can't go to Jamaica.
Hey, but Kaizo, you know, the topic today was about improving the race thing, right?
Yeah, it's all about improving the race, bettering the race.
Kaizo,
That's why I think
we need to support it, bro.
Okay, tell me why.
I have a counter theory. Not only should we not rebuke it, I think it should be supported. Kaizo, who do people say are the most beautiful women on the earth? Brazilian women, right?
Yep, Brazilian
Why?
women, yeah.
Why?
They have the
Because they
voluptuous
have the body
of
of
African,
Bantu
they have
women.
the face
Yeah.
of
And the
Europeans,
face
and the
of
hair of
Eurasian.
ethnic person. Yeah. They got the face of
We need to
Europeans, the
support it,
hair of
bro.
like a curly hair,
If
and a
it
body
wasn't for
that's
improving the
hanging from
race,
Congo.
those women
Yeah.
would not exist.
Okay,
Kaizo,
look,
when they say
Abby.
beautiful women, has anyone mentioned Haitian women?
No.
Exactly.
Look, Abby, let's be realistic. Yeah, people say, "Oh, self-hating." This, realistically speaking, mixed race women are the best women on the planet, right? Obviously, right? If you're looking at everything, right? You talk about the curves, you talk about the face, the hair. They have the perfect mix that makes them. You know, you don't want it to be too blank.
So you're saying a half Aborigine looks good?
No, that's different.
Oh,
that's
no,
different.
no,
No.
no.
We're
That's
talking
an
about
abomination.
humans. Hang on, we're talking about humans, but let's not repeat that, right? Let's not. Yeah, shout out YouTube. This is comedic effect. We do not come against any tribes or identity of people. Shout out. But yeah, no, we don't want that, right? We are saying that, right? The average African mix, either Nilo to Bantu with a Muzungu somewhere there, produces something nice. It does, right? Like you got the best of both worlds. IQ wise, I even showed the IQ of UK black mixed people. It's at 99. It's the same as the white UK mix. It's actually higher than the Romani and the Irish IQ. So clearly, mixing according to the evidence that we're analyzing.
This is not a win. This is not a win being higher than Romani and Irish.
No, 99 is literally the same as 100, right? If you look at it statistically speaking, right? So, meaning when we mix, we can actually get all the benefits of being black, right? Because if you look at the highest basketball players, the mixed ones are doing well. Steph Curry and all these people, or Admix, you can call it whatever it is, but they've got the best of both worlds, right? You got the high IQ.
To be fair, though, Steph always gets bitched by LeBron, who is like pure black.
Sure.
We can't be using that.
LeBron's a weirdo, man. LeBron's got high basketball IQ and he's big, right? That's really rare. Like usually that's rare, man. That guy is a freak of nature. He doesn't count.
That's black excellence.
No. That's a freak of nature, man. That's an accident. There's no way you're gonna get someone that high basketball IQ and physical prowess. No. He's an accidident of nature. He's a freak of nature.
Raised by his uncles. That's the difference.
LeBron is just he's a weirdo, man. Like that guy shouldn't exist. High basketball IQ and high physical prowess.
Not a weirdo. Steph Curry is not.
No. Steph Curry is got just high IQ and he's good at shooting. He's not got physical prowess. He's just he's whatever. He's tiny guy, right? In his respectable field, right? He's just got high basketball IQ. Someone like Giannis and Antetokounmpo or whatever, low basketball IQ but physical prowess, man. You see what I mean, right? That's yeah. Shout out to Thasso Bush. Thanks for coming through. Do appreciate your perspective over there, sis.
Kaizo, ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it? Do you have a tingly feeling in your chest when you try to be low IQ?
Wait, do I get tingly feeling when I do what?
Trying to be low IQ, having the stupid ass questions and answers like, "Oh, you Caribbeans, you specific Caribbeans are high IQ. I like your language." Like, come on, man.
No. There's truth in it, right? I've noticed a trend. Caribbean islands are the most successful black nations in the world. So I was actually intrigued to know why. Obviously, it's the whole tax haven stuff, because a lot of them actually allow companies to come in, zero taxes, etc. And then people come and dump their money there in the banks. Then they obviously lend the money out and build economies, etc. So there's an element of that. Same thing with like Mauritius Islands in Africa. Certain countries have decided to take the tax haven path, which actually allows them to be.
So tell me, Kaizo, what happens when some other people, let's say the Chinese, say, okay, we try to take everything over and then we exploit you? What can they do?
Look, you're thinking too far, man. Like,
because being submissive and rich is a thing. This is a thing. I understand it. It's good. It's good. You can eat on the master's table. There's nothing against it. But come on, man, Kaizo.
No, but okay. Here's the thing.
Africa is different. You know, Africa is different.
Yeah, Africa. Okay, here's a different Africa, right? Africa has so many tribes, and each tribe wants to have the power and control. So they're not willing to sort of act in a nationalistic aspect and sell their businesses and companies to foreigners. So that obviously gives them a slight disadvantage because they're competing internationally, right? Intranationally. So obviously, look, China's not going to come in and take over a specific African country because there's so many competing tribes for power. In the Caribbean, you know, at least they have more of a black identity, or rather national identity, because they're all mixed up with different tribes. So I think they do have that advantage in being able to act as a nation. Because look, I say, man, think of it like UK economy. A lot of UK economy is based in London, sometimes Birmingham and Manchester, right? Those are the three main hubs, specifically London. If you look at a lot of the buildings, 3 airports in the UK is owned by Ababatunde. A Yoruba man owns 3 airports in the UK, for example. UK has literally diversified the economy to the point whereby Dubai people, Arabs are owning the high-rise apartments, which are worth millions, etc. So I don't agree with this whole idea of you have to own everything in your country. No, I think I'm a globalist. I'm always been a globalist. I believe in joining the neo global economics situation. I don't believe in freedom and all that stuff. I believe in prosperity. So that's the difference. So I when I see Caribbeans opening up their markets, I think that's the path forward. And Kenya hopefully will be that sort of model. I don't believe in we have to own everything. We have to be free from the Muzungu or Igbo. There's no need to be free from anyone, man. That's just no one is free, right? No one is free. Even America is not free, right?
As long as it's a Western, so it's a Chinese.
Yeah. Listen, the enemy is better than the devil. Is better than the angel.
That's the difference. That is the difference between your low IQ Kenyans and superior Igbo. We can do business with everyone.
No, listen, Saint man, right? Like, listen, you guys are being optimists, right? Without actual facts or evidence. Like I mentioned, Russia, or rather Soviet Union, went and colonized all the Trashkanistani countries. And then forced them and subjugated them into their economic and political system. And you go, Russia's never done. Yeah, they didn't do it to you because they didn't have a navy. They weren't powerful enough. They were busy colonizing people around them, right? Russia
they had the navy, but it was trash.
That's what I'm trying to say. They didn't have a navy that could actually do anything. Exactly. Right. That's the only reason. It's not because of the mentality. Tonight will come here and say, the mentality. No, mentality is not different. They were busy colonizing the area around them, building a massive empire around them by taking over Kazakhstan and all the other Trashkanistani countries. Right. So no, they were just not as developed as Western Europe with the navy. Look at the countries that did the most prolific colonization. Portugal, massive navy. UK, British Empire, massive navy. Look at France, massive navy at that time. Really, the countries that invested in massive navies are the ones that went on a colonization, whatever it is you guys call it, right? So it's just to do with, did you have a navy or not? And Russia was more on the land army thing. They were out there trying, to consolidate themselves and build their own identity.
Let's call it. It's not a land army; it's a trash army. Let's continue.
Yeah, even look at the Second World War, right? How the single largest death toll was from which people?
Soviet Union.
Yep. That exactly, right? So yeah, it's just they weren't powerful enough to take Africa, and they didn't have political might to contribute.
To be fair, though, the Russians did fight 80% of the Nazi battalions. So when the Americans, the British and the French praised themselves for D-Day and all that stuff, they're only fighting 20% of Germans of the
No,
Germans.
but the
80% of them
problem
were on
is
the
the
eastern
problem
side
is
fighting the Russians.
yeah, but the problem is if you look at the casualties, if you combine all the ones who fought in Europe, all the countries who fought in Europe on their casualties, you are not even half on the Russian casualties, literally.
Yeah,
Like
because the Russians, most of those war casualties are not even war casualties. They're
I
more
know it.
like, okay, I come and take over your land and I genocide everyone there. At the end of the day, they considered those people also part of the war casualties. So that made up the 20 something. Because
Yeah.
Lebensraum meant the Germans taking over everything east of them. East of them was basically the area the Russians also wanted.
Poland,
Yeah,
Russia.
and it didn't help that
Yeah.
Roosevelt
So
into
remember,
the
for the
offensive.
while that the Germans actually took over that place, they pretty much killed anyone that wasn't going to ally with them. So even those that they genocided while they were the civilians ended up counting into the 26 million.
Yeah. Not even that. Even before Russians were attacked, they had a massive purge. Like literally, starting had a massive purge.
Yeah, of course. And then the Russians, when they took over, anyone who collaborated with the Nazis, they themselves also genocided. So there was like a double genocide in East and Central Europe.
Yeah, but guys, I'm just saying, as a neoliberal, I'm always surprised how you want to hang on the nuts of the West. Like for me, I understand, hey, it's money is money. But for you, I have the feelings there's a little bit of a patriotism or ideology behind it, what baffles my mind. I mean, as a technocrat, come on, man.
No. I get your point. I get your point. Look, let me ask you a question.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. You like to bash on the Africans for believing in the Western system in accordance to what the white man tells you. So when they talk about democracy, you always say, "Oh, they just believe what the white man tells them." But then here you are, just regurgitating neoliberal economics the same way the white man tells you, without any critical.
No. Come on, Abby, man.
No,
Okay, mine is context.
peak ideology is I can come and invest in your country, but you can't invest in mine. If you want to invest in mine, I still own it.
Right. Okay, no, I do get your point. Abby, are you able to click on the, and also Kale and Snake Man, can you click the link on the private chat? I'm going to end this and just do it more on economics, BRICS, and all that stuff, because I think we've done with the whole bettering the race. It's just there, right? Stream is already started, so I would appreciate it if you click on it.
That topic is not really a big topic when it comes to African, because our worldview is a little bit different. This is something you should do if you know Americans code, like American Rifleman, Magnesi, the other we are Indian original people, and all the hoteps. Like then those streams are bombastic, like literally, it's like World War III out there. But with Africans, only Africans, this is not a topic.
Yeah. Click on a link in a private chat. Just click. It's a StreamYard link.
I disagree, man. It was and we all put input, and we can all agree that unless you're synchronized, then you're not in the best interest of African people, whether you're on the continent or not. So, I disagree with that, Snakes, man. It's a good show, brother Casario, and we need these more topics.
I'm not saying it's not a good show. I don't know what's wrong. I said it's not. When Africans talk, we are all mostly on the same code when it comes to that topic specifically, because there is no argument to it. Literally, there's no a big argument. When I was just saying to keep the show running, when you want a big argument, bring all the Americans, because they like to talk about it and fight about it and go into deep philosophy about it. But Africans don't really do that. I'm just saying, what's the next step?
No, like I always run on chaos. But anyways, shout out. Click the StreamYard link, Snake Man, right? And over there, it's in the private chat. I know you guys are low IQ, but you can click on a StreamYard link. But anyway, shout out everyone ending the stream. Bye. Click on the link.